Anyone that thinks he can dance with the devil and walk away, he can't. So you all better think twice about what you are doing to this county. This home belongs to every single person in this county, not just Dunkirk. Every single one of you people own the county home, and it's yours to keep. Don't give it up. Don't listen to lies. Well, just think twice before you do anything.
This county took on the obligation of caring for seniors way back when Andrew Jackson was President of the United States. Through the Civil War, through the Great Depression, World War I, World War II, they've always managed to find a way to carry out the obligation to care for those who aren't able to care for themselves. And I go back to something Joe Cara said. This is a moral issue here. It's an obligation of this county and every citizen of this county to look into their hearts and come up with whatever money needs to be paid to fund this county home. These are the people that have built this county, that built it into what it is now, and they're the parents and the relatives of the people sitting in this room here. And I think it would be unconscionable for this legislature to vote to sell that home.
As president of the resident council of the Chautauqua County Home, I, Joe Karras, welcome this opportunity to speak to you. What happens when a chain nursing home buyer retains a nursing home is evident in a research paper by Charlene Harrington, professor at Southern California University. The nursing staff is cut with failure to prevent pressure sores, resident weight loss, falls, infection, resident mistreatment, poor sanitary conditions, and other problems that could seriously harm residents. When a buyer takes over, you can't prevent him from cutting staff, even though he made promise to safeguard the care of residents. If you mandate that our home be sold to a private owner, you for years will affect the care of a multitude of people whose only home is a Chautauqua County home. I'm one of those people. I'm 99 years old and expect to spend the last years of my life at Chautauqua County home.
I'm Marty Lawton Slaker. I live at the Chautauqua County home. And it is the best place, believe me. I've been to a lot of places. It's the cleanest. The help is the best. You don't lay in bed in feces and all of that other garbage. They're kind to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to address you tonight on the future of the Chautauqua County home, my mother's current home. It is so easy to forget the nameless, faceless people that some of you never knew and who you will never know, and what so many of them have done to invest and build this county and all that is good about it. They were teachers, they were doctors and skilled workers, they're farmers, businessmen, healthcare professionals, all invested in your Chautauqua County home, and yet now their lives are being sold off because they cost us too much. How much in taxes did they pay all their lives, do you think, that kept this county going? And to help build and maintain this facility that they have a right to be cared for within, with the highest quality of care being delivered to them. They too own this residence. It is their residence. I am a voice for my mother, Barbara Fitzgibbons, because she cannot bring that voice to you. I am her voice as a nurse and a daughter. I am an indirect caregiver. I have a vast experience in the health field. Please do not delude yourselves on the quality of care for the elderly Medicaid patient. You cannot wash your hands of these frail individuals, and I know you don't mean to. And you cannot walk away, out of sight and out of mind, that they are no longer your problem. I can tell you from personal experience in 34 years of it, the Medicaid patient, through no fault of their own, will not get the services and the quality care they currently do. And whether you want to hear it or not, you will hear this: my mother's care and her life will change for it. Through no fault of her own, she had an elective surgery at Millard Fillmore Hospital in Buffalo Gates on November 1st, 2010. She was allowed to fall out of bed 4 hours after she came back to her room after I'd returned back to Olean. And she laid there on the floor for an hour. before they found her. She had a heart attack the next day and a stroke the day after that. And before then, she was a functioning vineyard farmer in Silver Creek, New York, dutifully helping my father every day of his life to keep that farm going, and also paying her taxes. Because of the wonderful work those people did at the county home, and because my father and I had decided that we knew she would probably die, we brought her from Millard Fillmore to die at the Chautauqua County home. And you saved her life. And I say all of you saved her life. And I get down on my knees and thank all of you and all those at the county home for doing that. Because of the work I have done, especially in ICU and home care, that any one of you, and I remind you, any one of you in a millisecond, can be in the same position my mother was. And you may be in that position, or your wife, or your daughter. You would pray that this could be your facility under its current management, and you would be restored to the best level of life that could possibly be functioned. Quality care costs, and what the staff has to do each hour of every day takes a very special type of person. Do you really have any idea what it is like to clean someone every half hour of every day when they no longer have any control of their bodies or their mind?
Here we are again. Now we're talking about spending more taxpayer money to negotiate a contract with a company we don't even know when you haven't even voted to sell it yet. The county already invested $80,000 in the CGR study to determine what improvements could be made to make the home a more viable operation. The report highlights 6 cost-saving measures that were unanimously agreed on by the ad hoc committee to be given to the full legislature. CSEA addressed the 2 concerns, employee wages and benefits. We offered a $1.7 million savings that was rejected by the county. As far as I know, there's been no final resolution regarding the other cost-saving measures. According to Mr. Pryor, who did the study, the amount that could be saved would probably be much greater than his figures showed, as they were conservative. Instead, we're discussing negotiating a contract to sell to some out-of-state chain operation, giving up our public access. Whatever happened to the idea that we fully vet the buyer? When Greg Edwards disputes the figures in the CGR report and puts imaginary profits from the sale into the budget, it looks as though the county executive has made up the legislators' minds for them. The report shows the home ended in 2011 with a $5.3 million fund balance. All things considered, it's currently making $300 a day profit. We need you to vote to keep the county home public.
If Altitude Health Services really wants to buy the county home, why aren't they willing to address your number 2 resolve in your proposal by just addressing the questions you have without going into the expense of negotiating now? Altitude's number 1 on the first page of their RFP begins, purchasers shall prepare a first draft of an assessed purchase and sale agreement for seller's consideration, which shall contain provisions, representation, and warranties. Has that been done? If not, shouldn't we wait for them to fulfill that promise? Time and energy was spent to determine that we should pursue IGT funding to keep the home running while we looked at a long-term plan. An ad hoc committee was formed and a CGR study was funded. Why do we now need to negotiate a contract without even attempting to give these ideas a chance? Isn't that a disservice to the people who worked on this committee and the professionals we paid to do that study?
People have said that they give credit to the employees and they care about the employees, but I'm not seeing that. If that was really the case, I would have expected us to really go into this ad hoc committee, come up with the solutions that were given to us by Center for Governmental Research, and I would have expected them to be implemented. We haven't even tried to do anything, which has been what has happened since 2009. We've been prevented from making any changes. So I don't believe that we've actually done any due diligence here. Due diligence, in my mind, is looking at all the ramifications of this sale. You're not even giving the county home an opportunity to change and to try to make money and to be financially viable. And that's what really bothers me. I think if we had been offered that opportunity, I think we wouldn't have been half as upset as what we are today. And I really am disappointed in the legislature for allowing this to happen the way that it did.
Anybody who has an elderly family member, aunt, uncle, mother, father, sister, brother, of all the legislatures, could you hold the hand of a dying person dying of cancer? Could you wipe the sputum away from somebody's mouth while they lay dying? We have the ability to make them comfortable. Could you change an IDB on somebody or feed somebody who doesn't have the strength to bring a spoon to their mouth anymore? Could you do that for your family members? Maybe financially you'd be lucky enough to have the money to put them in the private sector. A lot of people don't, and they do have to rely on Medicare, Medicaid. I really want everybody to think of that. Your family members, not so much the people who are there now, your family members. Day after day we go through, we watch death, we take care of the people who are dying. We feed them, we clothe them, we wash them. They get the best care that they could ever get there. I don't see it in the private. I've seen other private facilities and how it works.
Everyone who's gotten up here and said that their parents or grandparents have been in a nursing home here in the county is referred to Heritage Village and Lutheran homes and Heritage, and they are lovely homes. But they are not for-profit nursing homes. They are not the for-profit nursing homes that other people are referring to. And they do a difference. They have to make money. There's no way to make money if you're not cutting something, and oftentimes it's care.
It's about the residents, it's not about the money. And if we were to be privatized, it has nothing to do with that. I've worked in private homes before. You don't have as many workers there, aides, to take care of residents. We take care of 8 or 9 residents a day per person. We have to wash them, shower them, dress them, feed them, make sure they're clean, they're not sitting in their feces. And if we become private, we will end up taking care of probably 10 to 15 residents a day. And not every resident can be put in a private home. We've had residents that can't even be moved when their families want them to be moved because they live in a different town. I know a lady who lives in Jamestown and wants her husband there, but he can't get into a home out there because they won't accept him. It isn't about money. It's about the residents.
I am a realtor. It is extremely difficult to sell property in Jamestown, in Chautauqua County, because of the taxes. We have, I think, a responsibility. We have an opportunity here to do what's the right thing by selling the county home.
I'm also a realtor. I'm in favor of privatizing the county home, and I echo the statements made by Donna Breen about selling homes, and the value of homes, and the barrier our taxes represent to people.
The private sector has been extolled here tonight, but that can only happen if, as the late Gore Vidal says, we live in the United States of amnesia. What happened in 2008? Is our banking sector private? Yes. And it collapsed. And we've pumped $16 trillion in one form or another into the financial sector in this country to keep it afloat. And yet, people stand here and talk about the private sector, its invincibility, its efficiency, its effectiveness. Without a government bailout, and if we're going to talk about bailouts, this is the mother of all bailouts, there'd be nothing there. We wouldn't be sitting here. We'd be in deep doo-doo. So don't tell me about the wonders of the private sector. It failed totally, disastrously. and we're still feeling the consequences of it. Now, to the matter at hand. There's nothing novel about the county executive Greg Edwards' drive to sell the county home. In 1990, a recently elected Andy Goodell launched a very similar campaign to sell the county landfill. Mr. Edwards, like Mr. Edwards, Mr. Goodell claimed financial necessity and a looming financial calamity. Presented the legislature with no alternative but to sell. The past 22 years have proven Mr. Goodell's dire warnings totally unfounded. I fully expect Mr. Edwards' prognostications about the county home will also be wide of the mark if the legislature demonstrates the intestinal fortitude and imagination to retain this excellent publicly owned and operated facility.
Putting the county home in the hands of a private company is gambling.
It's, you don't know what's going to happen, as opposed to keeping it in a county level where it will, you can be sure that it's going to be here for our economic thriveness. But also I want to say that health care is not a privilege, it's a human right. We have a large degree of poverty here in this area. We have seniors, more than half the seniors take in earnings of under $20,000. And I happen to know, as a community health advocate, that nursing homes don't have a requirement as to how many people on Medicaid that they have to take. So I think that it's, would be better kept. I hope you did your research on this company. If you do, go with that, and if not, at the very least, wait. But I hope you do keep it as a county home.
Please think of what you guys are doing. You're affecting me. You're affecting the residents. You're affecting everybody around you.
If this is not a North County versus South County issue, I don't know what is. I keep hearing taxes, taxes, taxes. And if I'm not mistaken, CGR actually reported that it would only save the taxpayer $1 and some change per year. That's it.
Per month.
Per month. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. Per month. I have yet to hear the county executive state that our taxes will go down if the county home is sold. He has not said that. The only commitment he has made is that our taxes, he knows for a fact our taxes will go up if we keep the county home. That's kind of a roundabout way of saying your taxes will not go down.
Somewhere along the lines, I believe we lost focus of what's important in our lives. We dictate our decisions based on greed and envy, and how much money I have and what I'm able to purchase, and that's how we measure ourselves. I do not measure myself that way. I measure myself on my values and my beliefs and my goals to support my community. And I don't want to be part of the driver of poverty and despair in this community, and I think if we sell our county home, we're contributing to poverty and despair in this community, whether you like it or not. Driving down wages in this community is not a solution. What we have a problem with is revenue. We don't generate enough, we don't think outside the box where we can generate more revenue. These people deserve the dignity and quality of life that they're till the day they die. And I am here to stand up for them. They got lost in the shuffle. This has become a political football between the unions and money, and no one's talking about the residents and their rights. And I'm here to tell you, my values are not for sale. I stand behind them, and we need to keep that county home in the possession of this county.
I know there's some fine nursing institutions in Jamestown, and they're not for profit, but they didn't make any offers to buy this county home. My understanding is what you're here to vote on today is more a contract, and you have an interested buyer, and I don't think you've done the research on the buyer. I think you need to do that. I think you need to look at what the history of the main stakeholders are in that transaction. I would never be for selling the county home, so that's why I would, you know, what would be the purpose? I don't know if I can convince anybody else that, you know, listen, this is important not only for the North County, but it is also important for the South County. The Chautauqua County Home provides services that aren't necessarily offered in some of the private not-for-profit, even in the larger ones. And, you know, and in the for-profit companies, they're going to make they want to make a dollar. And they've decided that they can make a dollar with this home. And do you know, you should be aware of how they're going to do that, if they, you know, before making your decision. So I really urge you to keep the county home in Chautauqua County residents' hands.
What I have to say is $16 million for that building, that's a fire sale. That is a steal of a deal. That is just kind of an unreal deal. And I really wonder how this came about. I really wonder how it is we only have one company bidding on it. And I also wonder, you know, the license alone is worth $3 million. It seems to me that we're letting this go, if we're going to sell it, we're letting it go way too cheap.
And it isn't because of the county home that we can't sell houses. The whole country, the economy is down. That's why we can't sell properties. The county home should not be sold. It is not the right thing to do, and you better think twice. Anyone that thinks he can dance with the devil and walk away, he can't. So you all better think twice about what you are doing to this county. This home belongs to every single person in this county, not just Dunkirk. Every single one of you people own the county home, and it's yours to keep. Don't give it up.